Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video today, I was actually on a flight up to Rockhampton to meet up with family to spend a couple of weeks over in Queensland and at Fraser Island. So I was flying up today with Virgin Australia and Alliance and all them. From Canberra International Airport to Brisbane, and then from Brisbane International to Rockhampton. So that's what this video is about today. So yeah, we're currently at the airport already. That's my flight arriving now. So yeah, let's get into the video. So for my first flight up to Brisbane, I was traveling on a Virgin Australia Boeing 737-700 with the registration VHVBZ. So this aircraft, it was manufactured in 2005, so it is, at the moment it is been flying for 18 years and 3 months now. It was delivered to Virgin Australia on the 4th of the 5th back in 2011 after being with Virgin Blue, and then obviously, as we all sort of know, Virgin Blue did end up just swapping over to Virgin Australia, so that's yeah, sort of what happened with that. So we were pretty much on schedule. The flight, so the aircraft arrived from Brisbane into Canberra on time, and then we boarded pretty much on schedule, so we was pretty good with that. So yeah, obviously we boarded the aircraft, and then yeah, it was pretty much go time from there. So I was seated in seat 17A. So I got a nice view, obviously, over the wind, which you always like to see. Obviously, however, you couldn't really see much because of how bad the weather was. The windows were all wet and all that sort of stuff. But so obviously, not long after boarding, everyone was obviously boarded. They closed the cabin door and everything, and we began our pushback out of gate 10 at Canberra Airport. And as you can tell from the footage, it was still terrible weather, still pouring with rain outside, which wasn't the best for my footage wise, but you know, you can't always control the weather, especially down in Canberra, that's for sure.
To release, just lift the buckle. When the seatbelt sign is on, your belt should stay on too. And even if the sign is off, we recommend keeping your seatbelt fastened in case of turbulence. Tight and ask your crew for assistance. Finally, make sure your seat is upright, window blinds are open, tray tables put away, and all bags are under the seat in front of you.
So after we were obviously unhitched from the tow, and the pilots are doing all their pre-flight checks and all that sort of stuff, we'll see given our safety demonstration, and we began our taxiing to the runway. We're using taxiway Bravo here at Canberra Airport, so it's a nice quick little taxi down to the runway because Canberra Airport isn't one of the biggest airports here in Australia. So we were using the full runway here today. We were taking off from runway 35, which is the main runway used here at Canberra Airport. after a fair bit of climbing, we eventually finally reached our cruising altitude, which ended up actually being a lot higher than I was expecting. We ended up going up to 40,000 feet for our cruising altitude when I looked back at the flight data, which really surprised me. I was not expecting to go that high, especially for a cruising altitude for a not long of flight. But yeah, that was end up being our cruising altitude for majority of the flight.
So move your seat to sound one of us.
Yeah, we'll kind of move in pretty quick, to be honest. Obviously, when I was looking back at the data from the flight, we're going at about an average of about 460 knots, which is, I mean, that's average for a normal flight. You usually expect that kind of speed. So, yeah, however, the window I got, because of the rain and stuff, it's hard to tell, but it was actually icing over the actual window. So I couldn't get the best footage, which kind of really annoyed me. So after about an hour of being in the air, we started to make our descent into Brisbane, and just like Canberra, it was really cloudy, really crappy up in Brisbane as well, which, you know, I wasn't expecting, because I was expecting to be going to sunny Queensland, but you know, like I said, you can't really control the weather. But yeah, so after about an hour, we began our descent. So for our arrival into Brisbane, we were arriving on runway 10 right, which is Brisbane's main runway, and that means it allows us to fly right over the city and right over the CBD of Brisbane, so we've got an awesome view of the great city that is obviously got called Brisbane. So yeah, great views as we got to arrive into Brisbane today. We also ended up getting a nice view of the Gabba, which is obviously the famous AFL stadium in Brisbane, as we came in to approach. might have noticed as we were coming into land that we had a China Airlines Airbus A350 holding short for us as we were landing, and I just got a snap at that powering up as it started to roll down the runway to depart. So once I arrived at Brisbane Airport, I had about an hour and a half layover for my flight to Rockhampton. So while I was there, I got some lunch and decided to sort of just walk around the terminal, do a bit of plane spotting. I was at it, not too much going on though at the airport though today, to be honest. Yeah, so like I said, not too much going on at Brisbane today. The only aircraft that sort of really caught my attention was this Air Nigerian. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. This Boeing 767 that just arrived. So the aircraft that I was flying on to Rockhampton today was Faulkner 100, which is operated by Alliance Airlines with the registration BHUQA. This aircraft is about almost 30 years old now, and it has gone through a fair bit. This aircraft was delivered to actually American Airlines in 1994, and then in 2004 got delivered to Austrian Arrows, and then 2012 got delivered to Austrian Airlines. I don't know if that was the same airline company or they just changed names and stuff, but then finally got delivered to Alliance Airlines back in 2018. So it has been around for quite a while, this aircraft. So yeah, it was a pretty quick turnaround for this aircraft. Quickly flew in from Townsville, and then probably just under 30 minutes later we began our boarding for our flight up to Rockhampton. And then after everyone had obviously boarded, the cabin door was closed and everything, and we began our pushback out of our gate and began our safety demonstration and all that as we prepared for our departure from Brisbane International Airport. So we were running on time for our flight. It wasn't delayed or anything. It didn't come in late from Townsville, and boarding commenced on time pretty well. I think we're only maybe 5 minutes behind scheduled boarding time, so it was pretty good. We were taxiing. We were all ahead of schedule for the whole flight, which is always a good thing. You never like a delayed flight. However, though, we did have a bit longer of taxi because we were taxiing around to the back of the airport and departing from, I'm going to say new runway, but the runway's been there for a while now, to be honest. So we were departing from one runway 10 left, so the other runway at Brisbane Airport compared to the one that we arrived in from Canberra. So after waiting for another Alliance Airlines Faulkner 100 to arrive. We taxied on to runway 01 left, and we powered up and rolled down the runway as we departed for our destination, Rockhampton. So we then reached our cruising altitude after obviously a bit of our departing. So our cruising altitude for our flight, because it wasn't a super long flight today up north, we only got up to about 28,000 feet, which for a flight like this and for this kind of aircraft, you'd usually expect that cruising altitude from that kind of flight and that kind of aircraft and all that sort of stuff. So for this flight, I didn't film it, but we got obviously our in-flight sort of snacks. Got a nice, just some pretty simple cheese and crackers and a drink. I just got a water and all that. But so for this flight, we were going at about 400 knots, and like I said with the altitude before, that's sort of what you'd expect for this kind of flight, this kind of aircraft. 400 knots is obviously still bloody quick. But yeah. So after about 30 minutes of since we'd taken off, maybe about 20 minutes of being at our cruising altitude, we began our descent into Rockhampton. So we're coming in from the west side of the airport. we were arriving on runway 33. So Rockhampton's got 2 runways. It's got its main one, which is runway 33. So that's coming in from sort of, I want to say the southwest a bit. So yeah, didn't really come over too much. It was just mainly a bunch of farms and fields and all that. That was the main road that we came over, but nothing too interesting as we arrived into Rockhampton today. So I had a pretty nice smooth landing into runway 33 there at Rockhampton. Yeah, it wasn't too rough of a landing. It was pretty good. So got to give credit to the pilots for how well they do those landings and all that sort of stuff. So just before we disembark, I would just want to obviously say thanks to Virgin Australia and Alliance Airlines. Obviously, great flights up from Canberra to Brisbane and then Brisbane to Rockhampton. So yeah, I'd like to thank them for obviously another great flight. That was actually my first time flying with Alliance, to be honest. Yeah, I enjoyed flying with them for the first time and hopefully get to fly with them more often in time to come. I also just want to thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure to go down and subscribe for more videos. And I'll see you legends in the next video. So see you later, guys. Bye bye.